Under the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act passed by the House of Representatives this week, food companies would not be required to disclose whether their products contain genetically modified ingredients. The legislation was backed by the food industry, which has fought mandatory labeling efforts across the country.
Current state labeling issues include a number of varying exemptions, loopholes, and caveats, making it very confusing for not only food producers but consumers to understand what it is they're truly consuming.
A December 2014 Associated Press GAF poll found that 2/3 of Americans support GMO labels on food packages. Advocates say people have a right to know what's in their food and criticize Congress for trying to undercut solutions at the state level.
I guarantee you, if Congress passes this law, my state legislature and my constituents will not be happy. They do not want to see their ability to make those decisions taken away.
GMOs allow farmers to use less water and fewer pesticides and make it possible to grow crops in challenging climates. That's especially important when experts predict a 70% increase in global food demand by 2050.
The country's largest food businesses and industry promotion groups, like the Coalition for Safe, Affordable Food, say genetically modified foods are harmless and labels would be misleading. The organizations claim a patchwork of state laws across the nation would increase costs and be confusing to the public.
What we've seen is that consumers all over the country are interested in knowing what's in their food, and they're interested to know if GMOs is a part of it. And that's not necessarily either good or bad in the eyes of many, but it's just something they want to know.
So far, Vermont is the only state to pass a law requiring GMO labeling. But legal challenges from food industry juggernauts like the Grocery Manufacturers Association, among others, have kept the Green Mountain states' efforts sidelined for now. Maine and Connecticut passed similar laws, but their measures only take effect if neighboring states follow suit. The majority of the nation's corn and soybean crop is grown from genetically modified seeds, with much of that going into animal feed. And Vermont, with a robust dairy industry, utilizes GMO corn to nourish a majority of its milk cows. The House bill would step up Food and Drug Administration oversight by requiring that any new genetically engineered products be reviewed by the agency before they can be sold. That process is now voluntary for most modified foods. The food industry claims 75 to 80% of all packaged foods contain genetically modified ingredients like high fructose corn syrup, cornstarch, and soybean oil.
In Vermont, where we are number one in localvore index, which is a measure of how much food our local food do we consume ourselves, that's something we do care about. We pay attention where we're buying our food, and how it's produced, where it's produced, and what's in it.
A full-fledged federal labeling law would derail state efforts like those in Vermont and create a new certification process at the Agriculture Department for foods that are labeled free of GMOs. USDA Chief Tom Vilsack has been supportive of genetically modified crops and praised voluntary labeling solutions. There is no similar bill in the Senate, although North Dakota Senator John Hoeven stated he is working on legislation. But it is unclear whether the president would sign any GMO labeling measures that might come across his desk.